Hello there. So I just want to just kind of record this real quickly. And it looked like the SNAP's benefits are going to continue to go, right? I think November 1st is cut off. Today is Saturday. But I think by Monday or Tuesday, Trump and a lot of states are going to agree to continue to fund SNAP or whatever, continue to SNAP benefits and not cut them off. I feel like government workers, and that's a sidebar, I'm sorry. Um, while they are continuing to fund SNAP benefits, I understand the concern for the 40 something million. I completely agree with that because if there's no SNAP benefits, you got 40 something million Americans receiving SNAP benefits. A lot of grocery stores' revenues depend on that, right? So that will hurt the economy really, really bad because that means more employees, more people getting laid off, right? More people not delivering because a lot of this stuff is depending on these benefits. Okay, but I think government workers something should be available to help them because while people said yeah have a backup plan you should be working a government job at the same time somebody's going to be working those jobs, somebody's going to be working for TSA, somebody's going to be doing it. You have people that fly out all the time and they tell you not to depend on the government job at the same time. I get you should not depend on man at all. At the same time, you're flying out or you flying different places. These people, they're not robots that's working. These are people that's actually working. So I don't want to get on folks who actually work government jobs because I receive mail. Okay. It's a lot of things that I receive that, you might depend on people who work those government jobs, even though you're not working them yourself. Okay. So maybe it's best to get rid of the government altogether and let's come up with a whole nother reality for this realm. Well, a better realm. But let me get off that because I don't mean to talk about the government workers. I just feel like that should be important too. I really do. Because a lot of government workers really do make a lot of things happen, even though they shouldn't depend on the government. At the same time, if you tell somebody not to depend on the government, just because you pay a light bill or a utility bill doesn't mean your utilities are always going to work. So paying a bill doesn't guarantee you're going to have lights. Your lights might be off for like a whole year. You might have a total blackout and you might have it where there's no water or anything. So somebody else can tell you, well, you shouldn't depend on a person to cut on your lights. You should be able to create your own energy. You should be able to create your own water without somebody turning off the water bill. Turn off the water. You should be able to have plenty of water. See, when it comes to people in the United States of America, I don't think anybody's really that prepared. Unless you have a well that you get your water from, buying a bunch of water bottles is not going to cut it. It's only going to last it's not even going to last a week if you want to take a bath. If you want to take a bath, it's not even going to last you a week. You're going to have to take a bunch of washouts with those adult wipes, okay? And you won't be completely clean. You can forget the hospitals. They're not going to make it. So it's not an option to be without water, but that's what I'm saying. You're not prepared, really. You're really not prepared. For the most part, everybody has been domesticated. You're really not prepared. I don't care. So when you tell government workers they should have been prepared, I get that Donald Trump been saying what his plans were. But at the same time, if you're taking flights back and forth, then you depend on these people to come to work yourself. If you're a veteran and you have to go, you still somewhat, like people who are not government workers still depend on government workers. Okay. But anyway, I'm going to get to the mostly Black women will be affected they will not receive benefits. I was just looking into it and it looks like, I understand the judge has ordered Trump to use a contingency fund, which will not even probably cover a whole month because $8 billion is spent $8 billion is spent approximately a month for us to fund SNAP. And I think the contingency fund is like 5 or 6 billion. So that won't even cover a whole month. If he was to use the entire contingency fund, That won't even cover a whole month. And if the government continues to be shut down after the contingency funds run out, you're still going to have a problem. Okay. So, but you still have different states and stuff that, would help with SNAP benefits. Okay. So it's not just a contingency fund. But anyway, it looks like it's going to continue. It's going to start back up. But I was just thinking, I feel like a lot of Black women are going to lose their benefits. It's not even a lot. Probably most Black women, maybe not all, but most Black women that are receiving benefits are probably going to lose their benefits. I kind of looked into it, and you're going to have probably some Latino women that's going to lose it, but it's not going to be most of them. You might have one or two white women that lose it, but it won't even be a lot of them. It will be very few white women. And I say that to say this. Now I want to get to this point. It looks like Black people are targeted just to be exited from the universe. They're firing Black people. A lot of Black people say they're being laid off, and they said, but none of the white workers are being laid off. And I'm seeing quite a few videos of Black people saying they're being laid off of their jobs, but the white people are still keeping their jobs, but the Black people are being laid off. Then you have this issue going on with the Black farmers. And now with the SNAP benefits, I get a feeling that mostly Black women will lose their benefits. Okay? And I feel like because Black people, it's time for Black people to rise up in consciousness. I've said this before. It's time for Black people to raise their frequency. It's time to get up out of here. This is not a realm that you just need to stay in forever. This is kind of sort of this is the underworld. This is the underworld. Okay. This is not a place to stay forever. This is really a place to resolve a lot of things, because we're dealing with the shadow. Most of what we see is a mirror. We're dealing with the shadow. This is not a place that we're meant to stay in. And I think a lot of Black people are catching it, because it's time to get out of this realm. It's time to rise up. It's time to rise up. Okay, so I wouldn't envy the other people that these things are not happening to, because it's time for Black people to go on and rise up. And I think Black women are going to be hit the hardest, because it's time for Black women to not be so comfortable in this realm. You can be comfortable while you're working on yourself and trying to better yourself, but to depend on the government. And some Black women, because this is true now, even some social workers have said this to me, some Black women purposely give birth to so many children just to receive benefits. This is what other Black female social workers or other Black females who just know other Black females, they have told me this, that some Black women purposely get pregnant so they can get money from the system. So when you see them going off online and fussing about not getting benefits, not one time did I hear them hold these men accountable. Not one time did I hear them say anything about their baby fathers, because they were for the most part, depending on the system to give them what they need. Okay. Now, unfortunately, some of the Black women who don't think like this, but they just might need something temporarily, just like the white woman might need something for 6 months. You might have a Black woman that just might need something for 6 months. I think most of the Black women that's going to be cut are the ones that's been on it for a while. I think the Black woman, some that's only been on it for like 3 months and they just need some temporary help, I get the feeling nothing's going to really happen to them, because anybody can get into a rough space and they just might need a little bit of assistance, because, I mean, guess what? They probably been working 15, 20 years and paying their taxes and helping everybody else, right? So if they get into a rough place, there's nothing wrong with 3 to 6 months of help, or heck, even maybe a year, but 3 to 6 months. It's nothing wrong with that. I don't see nothing wrong with that if you don't pay your taxes to go and help everybody else, okay? I don't see nothing wrong that if you need help, you can't tap into the resources that your taxes help pay to help others, right? But I think most of the black women that's going to be cut from it are the ones that has been on it for way too long, and and it's time for them to be cut loose. Okay. Um, yeah, I just felt like saying it. It's a lot of black women are going to lose. I feel like are going to lose SNAP benefits. A lot of black women will be cut off. Black women might need to decide if they want to keep birthing children into this community if they don't have a strong support system. A lot of black women, there's a lot of black children that do not have a father listed on their birth certificate because the fathers are not showing up during the birth. So this is a problem, and I think this could be one of the reasons why black women are being cut off, because it's not their problem, and it really shouldn't be their problem to continue to support a group of women when a lot of the men don't want to stick around to help their own children, and they don't even want to sign a birth certificate. It's a lot of black children who do not, a father is not listed on the birth certificate. Okay. I heard one lady, I forget what state this was. It was a southern state. I don't know if it was Tennessee. I don't know which state it was. Texas. I do not know, but it was a southern state. And this is a Caucasian lady. And I think I might have seen this on YouTube. I can't remember. I believe so. And she talked about how that particular state is not going to continue to fund, I think in her word, African American families. If the fathers do not, she said, if the fathers do not sign the birth certificate, if the fathers do not sign the birth certificates, they're not going to continue to provide assistance when the fathers do not sign the birth certificate. It's time for these, I'm going to just say this, it's time for these women to hold these men responsible. They're making everybody it everybody else's priority to take care of their children, except for the men who got them pregnant. Because a lot of women don't even get child support. A lot of black women don't even get child support because they feel like, okay, well, if he don't want to take care of his child, the system will take care of me. Well, now the system has cut off a lot of black women. Okay. And a lot of black women already have 11, 12 children. And I think it's getting to the point where they're going to say it's not my problem. And I'm not going to judge anybody. I'm not going to say, well, they should have known. You know what, though? Just because I didn't make the decisions they made doesn't mean I didn't make bad decisions in my life. So I'm not going to judge and talk about them like that, because this is something mentally going on for people to make the decisions that they make. Is something mentally going on. And I don't want to judge what's going on in their brains. I don't want to judge what's going on in their minds. All I know is they're being forced to stop whatever mental problem they had. They're being forced to stop, or else you're going to pop out children, but we're not going to take care of them because there's no father around. There's no father's name on the birth certificate. I'm pretty sure a lot of these Latino women, the fathers have signed the birth certificate. A lot of these white women, the fathers have signed the birth certificate. But a lot of black women, there's no father's name on the birth certificate. And that has been a problem for some states. And I don't think they're starting to feel like it's not their priority to continue to take care of a community where the fathers just, a lot of the fathers, not all of them, but a lot of the fathers have decided they do not want to be involved like that. Or at least they don't want their name on a birth certificate because I guess they don't want they don't want to be tracked down. So their name is not on the birth certificate and there has not been a blood test, paternity test. And so they can just get away with whatever they're doing. Because some of these men have gotten multiple women pregnant and they don't sign the birth certificate. And then there's no paternity test where they don't ever have to pay child support. And so the women just go to the system and they are aware of that. The administration in all of these states, they're aware of that, and they're cutting off a lot of black women. But like I said, I'm not in a position, I'm not going to judge nobody because like I said, just because I didn't make the exact decisions that they made does not mean I have not made bad decisions. So I'm not going to get on judging somebody. I'm just going to say that they have said enough is enough. All right. But I think this is a good thing because it's time for Black women to rise up in consciousness. And I think this is one way to help her change up some things. And now she's going to have to focus on herself more and, whatever, make different choices. Okay. But anyway, with that being said, I will talk later.